What if I told you that saving too much money is actually way worse for you than running your bank account to zero? Not only is it limiting your net worth, but it's negatively impacting your mental health and giving you a false sense of security. I'm not gonna lie, most people don't save enough money, but the people that oversave don't understand the risk that they're taking on. And so in this video, we're gonna talk about the hidden costs of saving, why you should increase your standard of living, and what are some concrete steps for you to get there. If you're new to the channel, I'm Pietro Conti. I'm a former investment banker and have worked in finance for the past 10 years. On this channel, we talk about personal finance and self-development and how to align your long-term goals while still having the flexibility to build a life that you love. And so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into it. Most people who save too much money learned those habits from their parents. They either grew up in a family that was really frugal like my own, or they grew up in a family that spent too much money and they wanted to counter that when they became adults. They see money as a security blanket, and whenever that number goes up, they feel more comfortable. And it almost doesn't even matter how much money they have in the account. As the number goes up, they'll feel more and more secure. And so people who oversave tend to hoard money even though they don't need it in the first place. They think that by delaying gratification that they'll be able to hoard more money and theoretically retire earlier, but what you'll end up seeing is that by the time they reach a point where they can retire, they won't feel comfortable with what that number is, and so they're going to overcompensate and try to save more and more, where that delayed gratification ends up going until a normal retirement age anyway. What they're doing is they're taking the slow path to wealth. And the slow path to wealth is the idea that by making good decisions and taking advantage of compound growth over time, then eventually one day into the future, you'll be rich and secure. The issue is that by driving your standard of living down and trying to save more so that you can reach retirement, you're actually developing a negative relationship with work and seeing work as something that you have to do so that you can escape this life and eventually retire with all this money that you saved. They don't even realize what the hidden risks are of just hoarding money and saving it in a bank account. Inflation will erode the value of your money. If you keep your money in a checking account or a savings account that's making pennies every year, as prices go up 2, 3, 4, 5% every year, that same dollar that you have that's sitting in your bank account will be able to buy less things in the future. When you oversave, you miss out on a lot of opportunities, not only in life, but economic opportunities. Risk is how you end up making money in the long term, and whether that be through entrepreneurship or investing in index funds or investing in real estate or other opportunities that you can make money, by hyper-focusing on just saving more money, you're missing out on the opportunities to invest in yourself so that you can learn more, where you would be investing in yourself as an engine that in the long term, that bigger engine will be able to make more money for you. The whole point of making money is so that you can elevate your standard of living and do things that you weren't able to do before with security and a financial plan for the future. Steve Harvey tells a story that I think is really interesting. He says that everybody should try to fly first class just once in their life, because if you don't know what is possible out there in the world, then you're gonna be content with what it is that you have. And so if you go out and you fly first class just one time, you'll have the extra leg room, you'll have world-class service, you'll have a comfortable experience that you didn't even know was possible until you got to first class. And after you do that the one time and you know that it's possible, you're gonna find a way to get yourself there so that you can keep flying first class in the future. And so what he says is, once people get that experience and know what's possible, they're gonna learn how to put in the work so that they'll start to enjoy those luxuries in life. Because there's two ways to make money. Number one is to cut expenses, and that's what people who tend to save too much end up doing. But the other way to do it is to just make more money. And so if you know what your goals are and how you can go out to elevate your standard of living, you will almost subconsciously go out and try to find new ways that you can make money through side hustles, investments, or entrepreneurship so that you can elevate yourself to do things that you didn't know were possible. By raising your standard of living, you're gonna be investing in high quality quality food for yourself that'll make you feel better. You're going to go to a gym that's going to improve your physical and mental health, and you're just going to feel way more comfortable by treating yourself with a lot more respect and understanding that you can responsibly save less money and invest more in yourself. When you invest in your education, that's going to be the groundwork for you to learn new things and take advantage of new opportunities in the future so that you can keep making more money. People who elevate their standard of living tend to have a lot higher life satisfaction. And it's because they're investing in experiences that are unique and meaningful that you won't be able to do if you're always worried on saving every last penny. If you can push yourself to take on more responsibility, that's going to be really meaningful for you. By taking on more responsibility and earning more money so that you can take on new opportunities for yourself, your family, and your friends, you're going to feel a renewed sense of meaning in your life that just by being content with your life, you're not really going to get that same level of growth. So what are some specific ways that you can make sure that you're saving responsibly but still making sure to take advantage of all the opportunities for you? And what I recommend doing is looking at your income and your savings as a total percentage instead of a total dollar amount. And so you should always be paying yourself first. And what I always recommend doing is that you take 20% of your take-home pay and make sure that you put that into savings or into a safe investment for the long term. By doing this, you're looking at the total percent margin of your life instead of a total dollar amount. And businesses do this all the time. And so there are good businesses that run at a 20% profit margin, but there might be not so good of businesses that run at a 40% margin. So why aren't those businesses as good? It's because they're not taking advantage of all the growth that's possible. And so a company that's making 40% margin in the same industry might be making less revenue and not investing as heavily into growth because they're a little bit more risk averse, versus the company that has a 20% margin is reinvesting all of its excess money into growth, is taking that money as fuel and reinvesting so that the total dollars in the long term end up being more. I think that if you can think of yourself as a business in that way, make sure that you guaranteed pay yourself first, then any excess money that you have, you can turn around and reinvest into yourself, whether that be education opportunities, a side hustle, or a new business. By investing that money back into yourself, you're gonna find new ways that you can make money that might not have been there before, because you always want your money to be working for you. And by just taking all of your excess earnings and putting it into savings, you're not taking any risks where that money can make multiple times over. I've heard an analogy before is like when it comes to baseball. In baseball, the best hit that you can get is a grand slam where the bases are loaded, you get one hit, knock it out of the park, and you score 4 runs. In business, you can hit a grand slam, but one grand slam, instead of scoring you 4 runs, by hitting a good business opportunity, it's like hitting a grand slam where you win the World Series 10 years in a row. By finding the right business that you can invest in, or finding the right side hustle for you that can ultimately turn into a business, you might end up making 10x what you are in your current salary just by going out and taking the risk and investing in yourself to figure out what's possible. And by taking that kind of risk, you're gonna be able to take advantage of what you didn't even know was out there. So anything beyond that 20% that you're paying yourself should be getting reinvested into new ways for you to make money. If you can save more than that, then what I recommend doing is having a separate fund for wellness and well-being so that you can splurge on new experiences and opportunities, because that's the whole point of making money. If you have excess money, then make sure you go on that trip that you've always dreamed about. You take care of your friends. You invest in those experiences with people that are just priceless opportunities. Because at the end of the day, the whole point of saving money is being financially responsible so that you're prepared for retirement in the future and that you can live a life that you dreamed about when you were a kid. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you get more content like this.